The title of this video is Homosexuals Are Destroying America. That's Homosexuals Are Destroying America.
Wow, I had no idea we had that much power. Let's do this. Greetings, fellow space travelers. BionicDance here. Meet Bible Believer 2009, or Remnant New Testament Church, depending on where you look on the channel, who seems to have a feeling that the LGBT folks are out to destroy America. Did you know we could manage that? I didn't. Have a look.
If you look at history, every society or nation or whatever it was, or civilization, that had open homosexuality, open immorality like that, it destroyed itself.
And yet, civilizations have risen and fallen throughout history, and there is no reason to assume that homosexuality was the cause. You see, what we have here is a logical fallacy known as post hoc, ergo propter hoc, or, in English, after this, therefore because of this. It'd be like saying, it was raining outside, and that's why my cat got a hairball. The two just simply aren't connected, or, if they are, you haven't shown it yet. So you don't get to just say they had open homosexuality and that's why the civilization fell. You have to actually show how homosexuality was the cause of that civilization's collapse.
Rome got into debauchery and just evil and sin, and look what it did to that. Look what happened there. And then,
yes, we do know what happened there. There were invasions by barbarian tribes, the rise of the Huns, and the Roman legions were weakened by a drop in recruiting. The Roman Empire expanded far beyond their ability to reasonably govern, and they spent far too much on their military doing it. Between economic troubles and over-reliance on slave labor, which was drying up as expansion ground to a halt, the rise of the Eastern Empire and government corruption, political instability, it's no wonder that Rome fell. But you're going to try to convince people that Rome fell because they weren't hopeless prudes about who they decided to sleep with.
now, I can even use Sodom and Gomorrah, Genesis chapter 19. That society became eat up with homosexuality. And we seen what the result was. God destroyed them. Sodom and Gomorrah. He destroyed them with fire and brimstone and rained it down. It rained fire and brimstone down on the city and just turned it into ashes.
Now hang on a moment. Let's just suppose that the story of Sodom and Gomorrah is true. Well, they didn't destroy themselves. You said it yourself. God destroyed them. If your contention is that homosexuality caused the downfall of all of these empires, you're going to have to show how licking pussy or getting pounded in the ass is what made these civilizations fall down go boom, and not some homophobic God saying, you go splat now, and pushing the smite button.
God saying, hey, this is the direction you choose. This is what's going to happen to you. I'm making an example out of these people here.
But if, as you claim, homosexuality leads to such an awful end, then wouldn't the terrible, horrible fate that befalls the people who engage in it be enough of an example? Why would God have to make an example of them? Or could it be that there is no horrible fate, and the only reason that homosexuals need to be made example of is to assuage the homophobia of the churchgoers and, if he exists, your God? Could that possibly be it?
But we can see how America is just going down the toilet, man. You go back 50, 60 years ago, people did not accept that. You would ask somebody, what do you think about gay rights? They'd be like, no, that's sodomy is sin and is wrong, and people would have told you that.
So 50 or 60 years ago, people agreed with your homophobia, and now they don't. And that's America going down the toilet? Please explain to me how those two are at all connected. Do I even need to make the racial analogy? And have you ever noticed how every time some marginalized group starts to approach equal rights, the folks who were keeping them down go, well, that's it. That's the fall of civilization. My country and my way of life are going down the shitter. Until a few years or decades go by, and the equality becomes the norm, and civilization does not fall as a result. But then the bigots just find some other group to be offended by, or to be scared of, and that needs to be marginalized. And it's usually the same people doing it. It seems like some of you just aren't content with your lives unless you're keeping some other people down.
In fact, there is no scientific evidence, by the way, that homosexuality is in any way natural or that people are born that way. People are not born that way. That's propaganda.
Well, let's just suppose that you're right and people aren't born that way. So what? Was I born to prefer rock and roll to country? Was I born to prefer sci-fi to fantasy? Was I born to prefer rollerblades to bicycles? There are a lot of things that we do or prefer that we were not born to do, that are not part of our genetic makeup, for which there is no medical explanation. So what's so different about homosexuality that you think it gives you the right to discriminate, to marginalize? What's the real problem here?
And I read stats on this, statistics, showing where a majority of homosexuals, they admit that they have had relationship with underage minors, kids. And a lot of these homosexuals, there's a majority of them that admit that they were molested when they were a kid by an adult. You have that going on, and certainly that's what I think homosexuals. A lot of them, that's where it comes from.
So I guess what you're saying is that the entire Roman Empire that spanned a very large portion of the globe was just full of molesters and pedophiles, and that's why so many engaged in casual homosexuality, right?
Because I believe honestly, I believe that the homosexuality too. I believe it's a demon spirit that causes that.
Could it be Satan?
We have just crossed over from ignoramus to batshit crazy.
It's just America has been overcome with this spirit of sodomy, this wicked, evil, perverted spirit.
America has also been overcome by horrible pop music, endless superhero movies, and those headphones that make you look like an air traffic controller. What's your point? How much actual impact does homosexuality have on your life, besides having to know that it exists? If the answer is, as I suspect, none, then why can't you just grit your teeth and get on with your life? Oh, that's right, demonic spirits. I forgot.
Well, isn't that special?
And so basically now people are accepting things that were once considered unnatural, unholy, evil, but now everybody's accepting it like it's good, it's wonderful.
Yes, that's called learning and growing. There was a time when cars and planes probably would have been considered unnatural too. Do we really want to go back to those times? Why would you look back with nostalgia on a time when humanity was ignorant, superstitious, and paranoid? Do you really prefer a world like that to one of knowledge, understanding, and, yes, tolerance, just so that your homophobia can be more socially acceptable? I ask you again, what is your real problem with homosexuality?
And you ever notice on the media, they always portray these homosexuals and these other, and other things like that. They always portray them as just so wise and wonderful, loving. And then when they portray Christians in the media, they're hateful, bigoted, stupid, hypocritical, crazy.
And I can understand why you might not like that. But have you ever stopped to ask yourself why those portrayals might exist?
State after state, you notice, is legalizing this. They call it same-sex marriage. And it's not marriage. It's a mockery of marriage, man. That's not a marriage. It's a mockery.
And now we're back on the whole thing where Christians think that they invented and own the concept of marriage. There are even those Christians who say that they're perfectly fine with gay people getting civilly united or even religiously united in some faith other than theirs, as long as they don't call it marriage. So it's entirely a semantic issue, which is fucking ludicrous. And it's hardly a mockery. It's exactly the same as a straight marriage, an expression of love and togetherness, unity, dedication. The only difference between a gay marriage and a straight marriage is the sexes of the participants. So what's the problem? So let me ask you again, why are you so against homosexuality? What's your actual problem with it?
And I'm making this video because we need to tell the truth about homosexuality. It is perverted, it's disgusting.
Aha! Now I think we're actually getting somewhere.
If they just openly said, I'm against gay marriage because thinking about two men having butt sex or two women having scissor sex kills my boner, dries up my vagina, I can't have sex, it ruins my life, that's why I'm against it.
You don't hate homosexuality because of God or immorality. You hate it because it's icky. You let something slip there, a moment of accidental honesty. I think you hate homosexuality because it makes you go, ugh. Come on, admit it. And to those of you in the comments section who are already typing that he's homophobic because he's gay himself and scared of it, stop that. You say that every time, and I can already hear some of you typing it. But that can't be true of every homophobe. Some of them are just bigoted assholes.
And then Satan will bring in the darkness, and America is going into a darkness, into another dark age. That's what's going on here. Because we're accepting that which is evil, foul, immoral. It's disgusting.
Kills my boner, dries up my vagina. I can't have sex, it ruins my life. That's why I'm against it.
Think for a moment just how selfish that really is. What if instead of homosexuality you said, I hate cauliflower. It's the most disgusting vegetable in the entire world. Cauliflower will make our country go down the tubes and it must be eliminated at all costs. And then the people who like cauliflower are shit out of luck because of your preferences. And what if you tried to cover up your selfishness by saying things like, cauliflower is a vegetable straight from Satan, and anyone who eats it is possessed by demons. Eating cauliflower is immoral. It will corrupt our children, erode the traditional family, and cause our government to collapse. Evil, evil cauliflower. You hear how fucking ridiculous that sounds? And yet, that is essentially what you're saying. Never mind that other people eating cauliflower or being gay has no effect on your life. Just because you find it icky, you want it gone. Quite frankly, if you had any reason for opposing homosexuality other than finding it icky, you'd let people make their own decisions, their own choices, and only intervene if it negatively impacted your own life. But that's not what you're doing, and I say that you're selfish.
And I'm doing this video because I'm sick and tired of these homosexuals and transvestites. Yeah, these guys get all these extra rights. They want all these extra rights, and they want to be able to silence people like you and me, YouTube viewers, that disagree with the satanic agenda.
First of all, nobody's after extra rights. We just want to be included in the rights that you straight people have always had. Second of all, nobody is trying to silence you. Oh, sure, there's plenty of us out there who would prefer it if you would shut your hateful yap. But nobody is going to make you stay silent. Nobody is actually going to censor you. But I have noticed that pointing out illogic or hateful or shameful behavior is usually taken as persecution and censorship by you martyr worshippers.
And they want to take away our First Amendment rights and try to, put people in jail for speaking out against them. I'm sick of it.
I challenge you to show me even a scrap of evidence that that's happening. I dare you. I double dog dare you.
By the way, even the homosexuals could lose their free speech rights. So while they're trying to see, the Illuminati is using these homosexuals and these other people like that, these other, to go after the Christians.
The Illuminati? Tell me just how much tinfoil is lining that hat you're wearing.
Because I am protesting the direction this country is going in. I dissent. I'm not unified with it. This is wrong. It's wrong.
I understand that you don't like it, but that doesn't make it wrong.
Speak out and speak out loud. It's time to take America back. Thank you. God bless you.
Which could not be a more un-American statement. This is supposed to be a country of freedom, liberty, and justice for all. But if you take it back for Christianity, you are rejecting those very basic concepts that this country was built on. Anyway, until next time, fellow space travelers, this is BionicDance saying don't run on automatic. Instead, please think.